Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The Chord. Now, gone too soon is a phrase where people use again and again when it comes to rock stars, especially in the Seattle area when it comes to grunge. One person who's very close to my heart, unfortunately passed away, also gone too soon, is a man who founded Soundgarden and super bands like Audioslave. We're giving a tribute to Chris. Chris Cornell is a man who gave so much to music, but his four-part vocal range is something that's amazing. The way he screams, he himself didn't know that he had the power to sing. Now, born in 1964, July 28th, this man was a loner. But the only thing that gave him solace was music. Dropped out of school, was listening to records. In fact, did not even know bands like Led Zeppelin or even Black Sabbath till the time he was 24. So what was he listening to? Pink Floyd, can you imagine? But then he got a drum kit and that changed his life around because he started playing the drums again and again. But the lonesome guy was going through issues that were tough. He had a father that was abusive. His brother and him used to get smashed up all the time. But what happened was that he took a lot of solace in drugs and alcohol, but that didn't stop him for his one love, and that was music.
She's going to change the world. She's going to change the world.
Now, Soundgarden wasn't formed just all of a sudden because Chris Cornell played in a lot of bands that he hated. He couldn't really get his creativity to come to the fore. He eventually decided to do something, really go and promote himself independently. And there was this big, huge move to go from established record labels to independent record labels, and that's exactly what happened with Soundgarden when it started. With Hiro Yamamoto, Kim Thayil and Matt Cameron, eventually he became not a drummer but the lead singer of the band called Soundgarden. They were signed on to A&M Records, but it was not an easy beginning for the band called Soundgarden.
Shed a tear 'cause I'm missing you. I'm still alright to smile.
Now, looking as to how Soundgarden started and what they really did, it's a story from rags to riches, literally again, from most bands that came out of Seattle. Grunge was a term that was not even formed by then. So there was this lady called Faith who went around making a cassette where she recorded bands like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, can you imagine, and gave it to all the recording company and said, these bands are going to make money. That was the label on this cassette. It went around with Soundgarden's name also on it. Nobody really gave them a lot of hope, but when A&M signed them up, one band that pricked their ears up and said, maybe these guys can really open for us was a supergroup, Guns N' Roses. The year was 1980. Like the Melvins, Soundgarden, and especially the influence of Chris Cornell on grunge was ever popular. But then again, like I told you back then, the 90s had not even started, the late 80s, and grunge was not even popular, not even a word that was coined till then. But then he had friends like Eddie Vedder who helped him on doing what he could. When Andrew Wood, a very close friend of his, passed away, he decided to form a band called Temple of the Dog along with Eddie Vedder. He was not prepared for what's going to happen next because then his name exploded onto the rock scene like never before. From being an introverted youngster, now he had to take center stage. Looking at Chris Cornell and what he gave us was definitely amazing, but most people remember him for Audioslave, but nobody remembers him for what Soundgarden did. What they did was Soundgarden back then, along with the new wave that was coming out from Seattle. Let me explain this to you. It was a time where punk was again center stage, but what Chris Cornell did along with his band was, and also the grunge movement, was take that heavy hitting, jumping punk movement and make the songs a little more trippier and kind of slow down to a more Black Sabbath taste, and that was how grunge eventually came to be. A different sound altogether, very raw, but the energy was still there. In Chris Cornell, you could hear it in his vocals.
Like the song we will live to rise.
Now, the Soundgarden broke up in 1997. It was up to Chris Cornell to decide what he really wanted to do. He had so many songs in his arsenal, but he wanted to bring it out, didn't have a band. What did he do? Well, surely, but definitely, what he did was bring out an album called Euphoria Morning in 1999. And what an album it was. Slow numbers, slow riffs, nothing heavy, but he sang what came from his heart. His lyrics were amazing. It was then that Rage Against the Machine was about to get disbanded because the lead singer had left the band. But Rage Against the Machine, Tony Morello decided that they are not going to disband but find a new singer to come in. They thought of Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell came in, penned a couple of songs, they jammed for some time, and that was earth-breaking and earth-shattering according to Tom. And eventually, under the moniker Audioslave was born. We've come to the end of this episode of The Chord. Catch me next week, same place, same time.